In this video, we're going to talk about how artificial intelligence can revolutionize customer service for any business. Now, customer service is a broad term. It can mean a lot of different things. But in this video, I'm going to walk you through a couple different examples that we've built for other companies that has basically eliminated the need to have any customer service employees. And with that said, customer service is very important for many things, as you already know. But in particular, there's a couple things that we have seen a tremendous uptick in with the businesses that we've worked with. And just by the way, my name is Sam. I run a business called integrate AI into your business. And essentially what we do is we build custom AI solutions into businesses depending on where their bottlenecks are. So we do things like cut costs, save time, increase revenue, and so on and so forth. But yeah, let's talk about customer service. So the two biggest impacts we've seen by integrating AI customer service into a business are the basically immediate response times to new leads that come into a business. So if you think about a software company, if you think about, even physical companies, right? Like the electrical company, plumbing company, there's really not many companies, a legal company, a legal law firm, if you will. People will go in and they'll submit a request, right? Even a dentistry or a med spa, they'll submit a request. Hey, I'm looking to get X, Y, or Z done. I need it done in the next week. What's your availability? Okay. Usually what'll happen is they submit the request, a ticket's created, a person will call them either that day or the next day, or they'll shoot an email, and there's a lot of back and forth. And more often than not, that person will not convert to a customer because someone else will have responded quicker. Moving companies is a great example. I myself have, I've reached out to moving companies. I've reached out to dentists. This happens across every industry. And I will basically create a request, and whoever gets back to me first is typically who I'm going to respond to. If you think about the app Thumbtack, really cool app, by the way, typically you go with the first person that you get in touch with and start speaking with. Okay, so with customer service AI or AI customer service, the old way I just explained, the new way, I submit a request. The AI immediately scans all the databases, all the schedules, everything that it needs to know. And it says, hey, Sam, thanks for reaching out. We can come to you tomorrow at 12 or Thursday at 2 p.m. Or, it gives an immediate response essentially after thinking for a moment. And I can go ahead and book it right there. And I can say, okay, great, lock me in for this. And maybe it needs to take my credit card info. Maybe it just locks me down, whatever the next steps are for the business. But what this does is it creates an immediate response time to a lead inquiry. And as we all know, the faster you can reply to leads, the more likely you are to convert those leads into actual paying customers. So this is a tremendous unlock. And it can also answer frequently asked questions. So let's just use the example of the dentistry, just as an example. I might go in there and I might say, let's say it's a little bit more nuanced than simply just booking a call. I go in there and I say, hey, I'm looking to get a teeth cleaning, but I also want to get a teeth whitening. By the way, I got a root canal 6 years ago, so just keep that in mind. This is up until 2025. This would really require someone from administration in the business to go to the dentist, talk to them about it, get feedback, go back to the customer, whether it's email or phone call, etc. And there's this back and forth. And in that back and forth time, it becomes less and less likely that I'm going to become an actual customer of that dentistry because I might be talking to other people, I might travel, I might forget about it, whatever the case might be. With AI, however, it already has all the documentation ever created. It can have every single customer call ever created. It can have the details from all these customers in a very private format that no one can access except for the LLM. And it can immediately respond to me within 30 seconds and say, hey, first of all, we have availability for teeth cleaning on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week at these times. In terms of your question about teeth whitening, this is how we do the procedures. And also, you asked about root canals. Well, we have no problem with root canals because we have this proprietary technology that makes sure that it's not an issue. By the way, I have no idea if root canals are an issue for teeth cleaning. I'm just kind of making up examples here. But the point is, it's an immediate feedback, and I can get the information that I need. And so if it all sounds good to me, I say, great, let's book Thursday at noon, and it books me in. That is going to literally, that alone should increase the revenue of a business 10% across the board. And that's probably aiming low. But there's another side of it too. Well, there's like a million different sides of this. I'm covering two main ones, customer acquisition and customer retention. Okay, so let's use the example of a software company, for example. I subscribe to a lot of softwares. You probably do too. And a lot of times I need support and I need feedback. And it is infuriating to me when I'm reaching out to support and the reply is either And I don't mean this in an offensive way, but it's like an offshore person that clearly doesn't know a lot about the business because it's just like a third-party customer service firm. Nothing is worse than calling Xfinity and then getting someone that has no idea how Xfinity actually works, and it's clear that everything they're saying to me is off of a script. I hate Xfinity, by the way. But this happens to me with a lot of different companies. When it doesn't have to be like that in 2025. Instead, Xfinity should have a chatbot that has every single piece of documentation ever created, every customer call recorded, everything fed into a RAG database. And I won't get into it on this video, but a RAG database is essentially a collection of information. So it might have documents, it might have phone calls, it might have transcripts, it might have all types of stuff. And it basically creates a bunch of zeros and ones to identify the documents and transcripts and phone calls and so on and so forth, training material, whatever. And then it can quickly search to find the zeros and ones that it's looking for. And then it can basically find, okay, it's this one, and pull it to the front immediately. So if I have an issue, I can reach out to Xfinity. And what you've seen the last couple of years is there is kind of like a chatbot feature that's a robot, but it has like, 4 responses it can give per question that are very broad and not broad, very specific and very basic and not helpful. Versus an AI chatbot that can literally be conversational and say, oh, Sam, okay, first off, I'm checking your router diagnostics. Second off, you tried this. Okay, great. I hear you've tried that. Well, let's do this. What I'm getting at is this would be better than talking to some third-party support team that's overseas, that's not even a part of the business, that doesn't know anything about the business. They're just reading a support documentation. So this can significantly reduce churn. And think about these 2 examples. If you increase revenue from new customers through your lead generation by 10%, and you reduce churn from customers that would churn because they're pissed off with your customer service by 10%, that's a 20% increase to the business. That could be millions or tens of millions of dollars to the bottom line, whether it's to revenue or to valuations or, you name it. Artificial intelligence is the most revolutionary thing that has ever happened to customer service since offshoring talent came about. I don't even know what year that was, probably the early 2000s. So this is just 2 examples. There's a lot of other ones too. For example, we worked with a coach who basically taught people a certain type of advertising and a certain type of platform. Long story short, we created a RAG database of all of his calls, every Slack message, every single script he's ever created, like basically every piece of data he has from the last 5 years. And we put into this model, and now his clients can go into Slack and they can get an immediate reply from him that's just as knowledgeable as him, in his voice, we can even do audio with like a API from 11 Labs, and it can just talk to them directly. So look, my point is, if you run a business and you're not using AI for your customer service, I think that's a huge mistake, and you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And also, something that I didn't even mention here is, you pay these third-party support teams, whatever, a ton of money, a lot, when all you have to do for the AI is pay for the token calls. That's pretty much it. So it's way cheaper over the long run too, and you don't have another employee, and you don't have to provide benefits. And look, I get it. Like it's unfortunate that jobs are going to get eliminated with AI, but it's going to happen whether you like it or not. So you may as well make sure that you adapt to the current trajectory of the world. So my statement is that AI is the single most consequential thing that's ever happened to customer service. Businesses that implement it are going to significantly outgrow and outpace competitors. And the ones that don't they'll just be left behind. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. And by the way, if you are interested in adding AI to your customer service or any part of your business, book a call with me. My website link is in the description. And like and subscribe to this channel because I'm just trying to provide content that helps non-engineers, non-technical people understand more about AI and how it works. So let me know any questions you have, if there's a specific video you want made. And nonetheless, thanks for checking it out.